How's it going, everybody? My name is LuckyBunz, and in today's video I'm going to be going over some tips and tricks to help you with Primal Kyogre and Groudon Raid Days. Now for the first raid day, it's going to be for Primal Kyogre, which is going to take place on March 17th from 2 to 5 p.m. local time. This is going to be a Sunday. And then for Primal Groudon Raid Day, that's going to take place on March 23rd from 2 to 5 p.m. local time. This is actually going to be a Saturday. As far as why they didn't do it on the same weekend, I figure it's just to give people enough time in between, which I think was pretty smart. Now for the bonuses, you guys are going to get 5 free raid passes, plus the one in your inventory if you guys saved it from the day before. The shiny odds are also going to be boosted, I believe at 1 out of 10, that's pretty typical for raid days. And then we're also going to get the remote raid limit raised to 20 from 5, so if you guys actually need to use Pokegenie for support, you should have enough during this raid day, most likely anyways. These are pretty good raid bosses. Now there is actually going to be an event ticket as well for $5, and you're going to be getting 8 free raid passes, which are going to be the orange ones, so you guys have to use these before 5 p.m. You're going to get an increased chance to get extra large rare candy from raid battles. You're going to get 50% more experience from completing raid battles, so 15,000 instead of 10,000, and then you're also going to get 2 times Stardust from completing raid battles as well. Now you guys can also give these tickets to your friends if you want someone to raid with you a little bit longer. There's actually a great incentive to get them to, maybe stay out there longer with you. The value itself is pretty decent for the ticket if you at least use 5 of the 8 extra passes. That way you get a 1-to-1 value on raid passes. Essentially you're getting like 3 free raid passes if you use every single one of them, which is pretty good. Now the other bonuses are kind of mid in my opinion because the extra large rare candy chance was not disclosed, and sometimes those raids are pretty bad, and sometimes Niantic even forgets to turn this feature on. So yeah, I wouldn't really bank on that one too much. And then the experience and Stardust are more of a cherry on top kind of bonus in my opinion. So really the main thing that you're going to be getting here are going to be those free raid passes. If you guys actually do all the raids, then I would say go for it. There's no reason not to. But at the same time, like, you're spending real money, whereas you could just spend Pokecoins and get those raid passes. It's totally up to you. I don't think it's going to make or break anything. Like, you don't get increased shiny odds if you actually buy the event ticket. You essentially just get more raid passes. So I mean, take that for what you will, guys. I think the event ticket isn't that terrible, but I don't think it's that great either. Now for those of you who are going to be raiding Primal Groudon and Primal Kyogre for the very first time, you're going to need to get 400 energy on each of them to Mega Evolve them or Primal Evolve them, and then get access to their cooldown period moving forward after that. Like, once you get access to the cooldown period, you guys can Mega Evolve them like once a week for free, which is pretty awesome. But if you don't get enough energy to do that for the first time, then you're going to be kind of stuck, and you're going to have to wait until they come back into the raid battles again, which would really be terrible. But that being said, your free passes alone should be enough to get this, but as a safeguard, I would have at least 1 or 2 extra green passes in case like you're just a couple energy short, and then you guys can actually do 1 or 2 more raids, get the energy, and now you're good to go. Now that being said though, will Kyogre and Groudon have their signature movesets available? So unfortunately there was no mention of these Pokemon actually getting their signature moves during these raid days, so it's kind of safe to assume that we're not going to be getting them. Like, this is one of those things where Niantic would definitely disclose if they were going to be getting them to kind of hype things up. In this scenario, it kind of looks like we're not going to get them. But the next question I'm sure that's going to be asked, is it actually worth using an Elite TM to get their signature moveset? So let's go over Kyogre with the signature moveset first, which is going to be Origin Pulse. So the answer for this one is definitely yes. Basically, Kyogre gets a massive upgrade with Origin Pulse as a water type attacker. Even if you double move it, you can also combine it with Surf for more consistent damage in raid battles. And it's also going to be the preferred moveset to have in PvP. Like, you could also run it with Thunder or Blizzard, but Origin Pulse plus Surf is actually really good in PvP as well as rocket battles, and then you could also use it in raid battles too. Now what about Groudon? Well, Groudon actually has 2 movesets that can be Elite TM'd. The first one is going to be its signature moveset that's going to be Precipice Blades, and the second moveset is going to be Fire Punch. And the answer is going to be yes to both of them. Now Precipice Blades is an extremely powerful move, very similar to Origin Pulse, so it's kind of necessary for Groudon to be like the MVP that it actually is. Now combined with Fire Punch, it's going to make it so much more spammy, right? So Precipice Blades is like a really long charging move. It's going to take you a lot of time to build up the energy for it, but Fire Punch is super spammy. So combined together, this thing is amazing for raid battles, PvP, and even rocket battles. It's probably some of the best Elite TMs I've ever spent in the game. So yeah, if that isn't praising Groudon enough, I don't know what is. Now, I know the next question that's going to be asked is going to be, well, what IV spread is going to be good enough to actually give these Pokemon the Elite TMs? And that is actually an excellent question, alright? So I would say anything above 90% with 15 attack would be ideal, but that being said, my Kyogre is actually a 98% with 14 attack. So why did I power that one up? Well, it was actually a shiny. So, a shiny Kyogre, 98% IV, that one was good enough for me. I would say anything that's like 96% or higher with 14 attack, sometimes I'm a little bit more lenient, but typically, 90% plus with 15 attack should be the main objective. The reason why 15 attack is so important in general for raids is because of breakpoints, and then for PvP, it's because of CMP, so basically like tiebreakers. For example, if your opponent has 15 attack on their Kyogre, you have 14 attack on your Kyogre, and you guys are like, you both led Kyogre, and you both kind of tie up when you go to throw your moveset, they're going to automatically win that tiebreaker because they have a higher attack stat. If you guys both had the same attack stat, then, you know, it would be completely randomized. But again, like, this is why it's really important for, you know, more serious players in game. If you don't take PvP that seriously, then this is really not the biggest deal in the world. Anyways, though, let's move on from here. If you guys have any additional questions, let me know in the comment section down below. But overall, I'm going to say giving Groudon as well as Kyogre the elite TMs to get their exclusive movesets, as well as a Fire Punch for Groudon, totally worth it. Now, technically speaking, that was just regular Kyogre and regular Groudon non-primal. What about Primal Kyogre and Primal Groudon? So Primal Kyogre and Primal Groudon are going to be the best attackers in their respective typing categories. So for Primal Kyogre, it's going to be the best water type attacker in the game. Not to mention, it's going to give you additional candy bonuses when catching Pokemon that are water, electric, or bug type Pokemon. Now for Primal Groudon, basically the same thing, except it's going to be the best ground type attacker in the game. And it's also going to give you candy bonuses when catching Pokemon that are going to be fire, ground, as well as grass type Pokemon. So the really awesome thing about these primals is that they give you a triple type bonus, opposed to most of the Mega Pokemon in game, which can only give you up to a double type bonus. Mega Rayquaza also functions under this triple type category as well. Now combine this with Mega Level 3 and these candy bonuses go from awesome to insanely OP. They're seriously some of the best Pokemon to use during events. Now on top of that, when you guys are using these primals in raid battles, you're also going to be able to give a boost to your teammates. Anybody who's going to be using, like, for example, Kyogre, electric, water, or bug type Pokemon while active, and then for Groudon it's going to be fire, ground, and grass type Pokemon. So basically, if any of your teammates' Pokemon are going to be within those typings, they're going to get a 30% damage boost. Now one really interesting thing about these primals, and this also includes Mega Rayquaza as well, is that even if your teammates' Pokemons are not going to be within those typings, they're still going to get a 10% damage boost while they're actually going to be in raid battles. Now what about the 100% IVs, right? So for Kyogre and Groudon, they actually have the exact same CP, which makes it super easy. For the non-weather boosted at level 20, the Hundo CP is going to be 2351. Now for the weather boosted, it's going to be 2939. So if you guys actually get either of these IV spreads on your screen, just know that that is going to be the Hundo. Take it very seriously. Circle Lock method, Golden Raspberry. Make sure that you're going for those excellent throws, and hopefully you do end up catching it. If you end up getting to the last ball, well, that is definitely a Master Ball opportunity that I'm sure some of you guys might end up having to go through. But again, like, if you get 2351 or 2939, that's going to be the best way to know. If you forget about, you know, what the Hundo IV spreads are, go to your battle party and then just type in 2351 and 2939. That way you will remember them and you're not going to forget, because it's going to be the first thing that you look at when you go into the raid battle. We got a couple more things to go over for these Pokemon. So the next thing is going to be counters. So I'm not going to go over every single individual counter. I do recommend checking out PokeBattler. This is going to showcase some of your best counters to use. Also my top best Pokemon to power up video, my top budget Pokemon to power up video. Those are great references as well. But essentially the best counters for Primal Kyogre are going to be grass and electric type Pokemon. Your generalist attackers are going to be along the dragon type category. Now when it comes down to Primal Groudon, your best counters are going to be water type Pokemon, and like exclusively water type Pokemon. There really isn't anything else that's going to be as good against Primal Groudon, so just keep that in mind as you're going through everything. And if you guys are going to be playing consistently with anybody throughout this day, make sure that you guys party up to get additional damage bonuses when you're going through these raid battles. Now at this point in the video, we've essentially covered everything, but I still got a few more tips and tricks for you guys. So the best Mega Evolution to actually have active during these raid days is surprisingly going to be Mega Swampert, because this hits both Kyogre and Groudon typings, so you essentially get the best candy bonuses all around. This especially holds true for Primal Groudon Raid Day, because Mega Swampert can be used as a raid attacker as well as your candy bonus farming, so it's actually really nice that it's kind of like the best of both worlds there. For Primal Kyogre, you are going to have to sacrifice the Mega to get the candy bonuses, but I totally think that's fine. Now you guys can also use any other water or ground type Mega respectively, you know, because these are both going to be on different weekends, so you're not going to be farming them at the same time. Basically, whichever water and ground type Mega you guys have at Mega Level 3, prioritize that one for the extra candy and extra large candy bonuses. These guys do have Master League relevance, and they're really good in the raid/gym meta, so you want to make sure that you're getting as much candy as possible, especially extra large candy. Speaking of which, on that note, I would also recommend using Silver Pineapple Berries. Like I said, guys, you want to farm as much candy as possible. This is going to be the best way to do it, because essentially a Silver Pineapple Berry is kind of like using a Golden Raspberry and a Pineapple Berry at the same time, but like slightly worse than a Golden Raspberry. Like, it's still going to give you like the second best catch rate, so, you know, combine that with an excellent throw, and yeah. Now finally, our last tip is going to be to use Pokegenie for raid support. I kind of touched on this earlier, but I'll talk about it again. For those of you guys out there who don't have that many trainers in your local area, I would highly recommend hosting through Pokegenie to get the extra numbers that you guys actually need to beat the legendary raid bosses. You know, seriously, it's such a game changer, because I don't really live near that much, so when I go out to do these raid battles, if the Pokegenie queues aren't like terrible, which I don't think they're going to be during the day like this, you know, you can definitely make these raids happen. Now on top of that, you can also use the campfire map in game to search for any local meetups. It might be kind of far away, but it's definitely worth going to these meetups, because you're going to have for sure guaranteed trainers there. And again, like that's a game changer when it comes down to doing these raid battles successfully. And especially if you want to buy the ticket as well, going to one of these meetups is going to be key to having a successful raid day. With that being said, that's basically everything that I got for you guys in this one. If you want to check out some more content, I'm going to recommend these 2 videos right here. But before you go, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you all real soon in the next one.